wanted to start with Levi Weaver from The Athletic. Here's what he says the lineup will be. I'll run it down for you. Tell me, does this sound right, and where you think potential adjustments could still be made. Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Mitch Garver, Nate
Time out. You're not naming batting first, are you?
I believe that is exactly
Mike, right now, and I think this. Somebody did ask me this on
Marcus Semien first.
Somebody asked me this on the fan text the other day. Do you find it weird that Semien and Seager are 1 and 2 in the lineup? And from what I understand, typically, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, you want those guys to get as many as bats as they can early in spring training. That's why you put them higher in the lineup in spring training.
Okay.
Do you think they will be 1 and 2 to start the season?
I believe that is
the majority of the
prediction.
season.
I think they might because the Rangers don't have a leadoff hitter. And here's what stinks. If 7, 8, 9 are not contributing players, that means Marcus Semien might end the year with 65, 75 RBIs.
Yeah.
That doesn't look good. He's one of our best hitters. He's one of our 2 best hitters. I think without a doubt, we know Seager and Semien are our 2 best hitters on the team, and there's really no competition for the 2 best hitters on the team. It drops off after that, and it doesn't mean it drops off to nothing. I think Mitch Garver was a great ad. I'm hoping Adolis Garcia can go back to first half Adolis Garcia and not second half Adolis Garcia. He's probably somewhere in between those 2 players is his realistic place, which I would say in most lineups, starting player, great defensive outfielder, bat 7th or 8th in most lineups. Here he's going to probably bat. Tell me where he's going to bat. You have the lineup up.
They got Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Mitch Garver, Nathaniel Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Cole Calhoun at 6, Willie Calhoun at 7, Andy Ibanez at 8, and Brad Miller at 9.
Okay. It's better than last year,
but it's not good.
I hate saying this. I want the Rangers to win 100 games.
It's not good.
If I am looking at that lineup and I'm a pitcher, I go, if I can get through the first 3 guys without damage, I have now 6 outs in that lineup if I execute. If I do what I need to do. Look, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to execute every pitch. It's impossible. But if I can throw a good game against those first 3 guys, I can't relax against the next 6, but I know if those are my next 6 guys, there's enough weaknesses there that I should have. If I go well, I should have the second and third innings with zeros on the board.
Absolutely. Now,
and then Semien, remember, if he's not coming up with anybody on base, that changes the way I pitch to him.
The one cool thing about this is Levi Weaver pointed out, it is a really interesting article, that the improvement for this lineup on average over last year in OPS is .118, which is like, just imagine your OPS going from 700 to 800. And now I know realistically in this scenario that is not the number it goes from, but that's still pretty remarkable.
That's great. I'm just looking. Last year, Semien had 45 home runs, 102 RBIs. You have to remember this. He had Vladimir Guerrero. He had Bo Bichette. He had the other guy, I think I want to say his last name was Hernandez in the outfield.
Teoscar Hernandez.
He was an all-star too. Teoscar Hernandez he had 3 all-stars batting around him. 3. So when you're batting first, it's great because Corey Seager is behind you. So it's not like, hey, just put him on base. But for Corey Seager and Mitch Garver, it can become times where, hey, Corey Seager's hot. Corey Seager has a chance to possibly tie or win this game here. Don't pitch to him. Let's pitch to Nathaniel Lowe and let's pitch to Adolis Garcia and see if they beat us.
Now, Corey, you brought up the pitching, and this is the part that I think
name a pitcher.
I will name the predicted 5, and I think this is going to scare some people. John Gray,
stud.
Martin Perez,
stud.
Dane Dunning,
stud.
Taylor Hearn,
stud of studs,
and Spencer Howard.
Weak.
What?
He's the 5th guy, dude. Do you think he's an ace?
You have.
Will he be an ace in 3 years?
That might be, except for Taylor Hearn being the stud of stud. That might be the only reasonable thing you said just in that part of the pitching. But here's the thing. And Mike, I want to ask about that feeling that you're. But here's
what happened to the guy we signed that was good in 2016?
Yeah,
which one?
More?
No, well, he was good in 2011.
Otto?
No, he's a young guy. We just signed him. He was with the Angels forever.
Garrett Richards.
Garrett Richards. Why can't we put Garrett Richards in there and see what happens?
Well, he's the bullpen right now, according to this list. So.
And Garrett
Awesome
Richards
sauce.
might be competing with Spencer
Dark
Howard.
sauce.
But the thing that's concerning about that is once you get past the first person, you do not have people that either inspire confidence or have a track record. Like
Okay.
we love
You love Dane Dunning.
I
Dane
do.
Hunting has
I
been
do.
on the show. He's been awesome. We love Taylor Hearn, but they do not have track records of I can be your guy. I can be your starter.
And let's look at this realistically. I do think John Gray, Dane Dunning, and Taylor Hearn are a very good 3, 4, 5 pitchers in a rotation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Why did you avoid Martin Perez here? You have questions about him still?
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
I would say so. The base of the back of your rotation with all the young guys that are competing, like you talk, AJ Alexi, Spencer Howard, Otto, right? I mean, the list goes on and on. Eventually, Cole Winn, I think sometime in like June, July, will make his debut for the Texas Rangers. My opinion. Maybe he doesn't, but I think you're really good 3 through about 10.
Yeah.
It's that 1 and 2 that the Rangers either have to develop or shell out a whole bunch of money in the next 2 years to get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And the thing that sucks is you haven't seen that development where you thought. Like, I get that Glenn Otto is still young. You're hoping his time will come. Spencer Howard, you were hoping when you made that trade that he would show why he was once a top prospect. Colby Allard, when you made that move, you were hoping he would show why he was once a top prospect. Neither one of those guys have done that whatsoever so far with the Rangers.
And I think the hope with Spencer Howard is that what they were doing in Philly was just not tailored for him at all. So you're kind of rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Which would take time.
Which is true. And we better hope it takes time because the first couple steps of that, he was awful here last year. Like awful. But if it's part of that rebuilding process, because they also pulled him out, he had a good outing and they pulled him after like 3 innings and they're like, well, that's enough for you today. So if it's part of the rebuilding process and it works, great. If Glenn Otto works, great. If Colby Allard works or Cole Winn or any combination of those people work, then you might not have to shell out that money, or Mike, you might feel more comfortable shelling out that money, right? If you're like, hey, well, we developed our 2, 3, 4 pitchers for nothing.
Right.
Let's go spend all of the money on whoever.
Yeah, that would be something to do. When you asked me about Martin Perez, I was just looking at his stats. And really, honestly,
he was fine last year.
After his surgery in 2014, he just never really lived up to the potential that everybody felt like he had in 2010 through about 2013. But for me with Martin Perez, I feel like there's always been more there. And so I was talking to Sandler about this, and we were kind of talking, and we were just saying, the tough thing about Martin Perez and Matt Moore is we've seen them here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if we hadn't ever seen Martin Perez pitch, like as in he's never been a Texas Ranger, we'd be like, all right, he's a number 5. Like that's a good number 5 pitcher. But since we've seen him and we've seen what he's done, it's tough to get excited or enthusiastic about putting Martin Perez back on the Texas Rangers.